Could you crush the skull of a cave bear with your bare hands? Run 50 kilometers without stopping? Or survive an entire winter eating nothing but raw meat? Because your ancestor from 40,000 years ago did that on just another Tuesday. Get ready to discover how weak you are compared to the superhumans who lived before you, and why this might be the most fascinating thing you'll see today. I'm Jonas, and here on Mysteries of Prehistory, we explore the most astonishing secrets of our ancestors. Today, you'll find out why an average prehistoric human would make you look like a 5-year-old in a fight, and how our cultural evolution made us both smarter and physically weaker than ever before in human history. If you want to discover just how much more badass our ancestors were compared to us, smash that like button and let's go on this journey together. First, let's set up our competitors. In the blue corner, we have you, the typical modern human. You probably spend 8 hours sitting in a chair, get your food from a supermarket, live in a heated home, and have access to modern medicine. Average height, 1.75 meters, average weight, 70 kilograms, life expectancy, 80 years. In the red corner, we have your Cro-Magnon ancestor. From 40,000 years ago. Same DNA as you, but forged in a reality where every single day was a matter of life or death. No supermarkets, no hospitals, no central heating. Just you, your stone tools, and a world full of giant predators eager to make you their dinner. The burning question: who would win in a fight? And even more importantly, why does this matter for understanding who we are today? Brace yourself, because the numbers are brutal. Analyses of fossilized bones reveal that our Cro-Magnon ancestors had bone density 20% higher than ours. That's right, their bones were literally stronger. The muscle markings on their fossils show muscles that would make a modern bodybuilder cry with envy. A study from the University of Cambridge examined the arm bones of a hunter-gatherer from 30,000 years ago. The conclusion? He had grip strength equivalent to an adult male orangutan. To put that in perspective, an orangutan can lift 7 times its own body weight. Can you? But it gets worse, or better, depending on your point of view. Researchers at the University of Utah discovered that our hunter-gatherer ancestors had 30% greater lung capacity than we do. They could run long distances without tiring because they literally processed oxygen more efficiently. And there's more, their fingers were proportionally longer and stronger. Why? Because they spent their entire lives gripping spears, climbing rocks, and doing heavy manual labor. A handshake with a Cro-Magnon would probably crush your bones. Drop a comment below. How many push-ups can you do? Because a prehistoric human could probably knock out 200 without even breaking a sweat. But brute strength is only the beginning of the humiliation. Let's talk endurance. Our ancestors regularly walked between 15 to 20 kilometers every single day. No Nike sneakers, no sport drink, no motivational Spotify playlist. During the last ice age, they survived temperatures of -40 degrees Celsius wearing nothing but animal hides and fire. Meanwhile, you complain when the air conditioner breaks down for 2 hours. Here's a mind-blowing fact. Isotopic analysis of Neanderthal teeth shows that they regularly ate raw meat. Not by choice, but because sometimes there was no way to make fire. Their digestive and immune systems were adapted to handle food that would send you straight to the hospital. And here's something that might make you depressed. They had superior vision compared to us. Studies of Neanderthal skulls show larger eye sockets and brain regions more developed for vision. They could see better in the dark and had sharper spatial awareness. They were literally survival superhumans. A Harvard anthropologist calculated that the average hunter-gatherer burned between 4,000 to 5,000 calories per day just to stay alive. You burn that in an entire week at the gym. Now you might be thinking, okay, but at least I'm smarter, right? Wrong again. Or rather, it's complicated. Our ancestors had types of intelligence that simply don't exist anymore. They could track animals for hundreds of kilometers just by looking at footprints that were 3 days old. They could identify over 300 different plant species, knowing which were edible, which were poisonous, and which were medicinal. A fascinating study compared modern Australian Aboriginals who still live traditionally with Western university students. The result? The Aboriginals could navigate territories spanning thousands of square kilometers without a compass or GPS, using only natural landmarks. Meanwhile, the students got lost on their own university campus. If you're realizing just how dependent we are on technology, hit that like button to show you want more content about our superhuman ancestors. And don't forget to subscribe, because every week we bring you new revelations about prehistory. They memorized complex mental maps of massive territories, could predict climate changes by observing animal behavior, and could make fire under conditions you'd consider impossible. These are forms of intelligence we've simply lost. So the burning question is this: if our ancestors were superhuman, why are we so weak? The answer will surprise you, and it might just change the way you see modern civilization.
The culprit is agriculture.
Seriously. When our ancestors discovered farming 10,000 years ago, our physical strength began to decline rapidly. Why? Because we no longer needed to be superhuman to survive. Before agriculture, if you couldn't chase down a wounded mammoth for 20 kilometers, you starved.
Brutale naturale sélection.
After agriculture, if you weren't as strong, it didn't matter, you always had grain stored away. Comparative studies of skeletons show that human bone density dropped by an average of 20% after the development of agriculture. Our average height shrank, our muscle mass decreased, and our lung capacity diminished. But here's the fascinating plot twist: at the same time we were becoming physically weaker, we were developing technology, art, philosophy, and science. It's like we made an evolutionary trade-off: raw physical strength for collective intelligence. And there's more. Modern medicine has eliminated many selective pressures. In the past, genes for physical weakness were literally wiped out of the population, because those people didn't survive long enough to reproduce.
Today, with advanced medicine, those pressures almost don't exist anymore.
So, let's go to the ultimate test. Imagine you were transported 40,000 years into the past to compete directly with a Cro-Magnon. How would it go? Physical strength: he'd beat you easily. He could probably lift you with one hand. Endurance: while you'd be gasping for air after 10 minutes of running, he could run all day without a problem. Survival: you'd starve, freeze, or get eaten by predators in less than a week. He'd live 40 to 50 years under those same conditions. Practical skills: he'd make fire, craft tools, and build shelter while you'd still be figuring out which rock is sharper. But here comes the twist: if we brought that same Cro-Magnon into today's world, you'd win in many other categories. Abstract knowledge: you know math, history, science, concepts that didn't even exist in his time. Technological adaptation: you could teach him to use a smartphone, a computer, even drive a car. Scientific thinking: you understand concepts like germs, electricity, gravity, things completely unknown to him. So drop a comment: in which situation would you do better, back in the Stone Age, or bringing a caveman into today's world? Justify your answer. So, what have we learned from this epic comparison? First, that our ancestors were literally superhuman in terms of physical ability and survival skills. Second, that our modern weakness is really the price we've paid for civilization. But here's the most important lesson: many of the skills we've lost are still latent in our DNA. Studies show that with proper training, we can recover much of the strength and endurance of our ancestors. Modern populations that still maintain lifestyles closer to hunter-gatherers, like certain tribes in the Amazon or Australian Aboriginals, still display exceptional physical abilities. This proves the potential is still there. And here's something fascinating: elite modern athletes, when trained under the right conditions, can approach the strength and endurance levels of our ancestors. Kenyan marathoners, for example, demonstrate cardiovascular efficiency comparable to prehistoric hunter-gatherers. The question remains: is it worth trading our physical strength for intellectual and technological capacity? Or is there a middle ground where we can have the best of both worlds? So, who wins in the end, you or your prehistoric ancestor?
In a direct physical confrontation, ancestor win en down.
No contest. In survival in the wild, ancestor wins easily. You'd be gone on day one. In adapting to the modern world, you win. He'd be lost in a big city. In knowledge and formal education, you win by a mile. In solving complex abstract problems, you win. In modern social skills, you win. Final result: technical draw. Each of you is the perfect product of your environment and the evolutionary pressures of your time. If this epic battle between past and present blew your mind as much as it did mine, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Every week I bring more insane comparisons between our ancestors and us. The truth is, we are simultaneously the weakest and the most powerful version of humanity ever. Physically weaker, but collectively more powerful than any previous generation. Our ancestors could crush bones with their bare hands, but we can split atoms with our technology. They survived ice ages, but we explore space. They hunted mammoths, but we cure diseases that used to kill people at 30. Maybe the question isn't who's stronger, but how we can honor the incredible strength of our ancestors while continuing to evolve as a species. So, after discovering all this, do you still think you could survive a week in the prehistoric world? Or could our ancestors adapt to our modern world? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more prehistoric mysteries that will blow your mind upside down.